Welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Joe. Did you like the little dance? I just did a little dance that I'm going to do.
Oh,
now.
I didn't see
Wait,
it.
I want to see the little dance.
I did like something along the lines of like feelings and other things. Also. I don't remember the dance.
Yeah, we'll have to
Your
play
own
that back.
YMCA type thing.
Feelings and other things also.
Yeah.
But it's not just us. Come on.
And we're joined by our dear friend, our dear real life friend, which I do feel like I need to mention, Eddy Burback.
Hello. Yeah, we are actually real life friends.
Yeah.
Much more than I think most like creators are.
I honestly, this is like, I was going to leave this for later in the episode, but I've found it like really nice and kind of touching that I haven't even been back that long and we have become like, because we've known each other a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think through both being like not really setter-uppers of like social stuff, or at least like back when we knew each other a few years ago, and then me being away for a couple of years, it's been really nice just like, it's like a long distance relationship meeting up and being like, oh, the dynamics are real great.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's not waste time with the dating process now.
I don't know if you had mentioned it, Jarvis, but as like you were going through the process of coming back, I was frequently asking.
Yeah,
and being
that
like,
is
I'm
true.
so excited for Jordan to come back.
Yeah.
Like,
And Eddie, not to butter your bread, but I think...
do it.
Well,
I want
it.
Make me slippery.
BLT time.
It's I bring in that guy from Twitter who eats raw meat with like a stick of butter. He slathers Eddie up. But no, Eddie, I think, is in the sort of corner of our friend group that we exist in, a setter up of things. I feel like more things happen because of Eddie and Chrissy than happen because of me, for sure, because I'm bad at setting
Chrissy
things
and
up.
I, for many reasons, are a good match. But socially, we are both people who like setting up plans.
Yeah.
I don't like the process of it because like I don't. Especially, it comes with a lot of anxiety of thinking you might be like too much or you're like or the stress of like trying to work something out. But I think just with my friend group naturally, like when I was growing up, that just kind of became the thing, and the same with Chrissy. So it's just like it's kind of nice to just be like, oh, should we get something together this weekend? And then cut to Friday and it's like all our friends
It
hanging
is
out.
nice to have that feeling of like, oh, I haven't seen my friends in a while and there's something I can do about it.
There's also like, I think you particularly, like if we hang out, you have like a very distinct community and common things to do.
For those who don't know Eddie's a
people will know me, so that's
okay.
no. Sorry.
People who don't know Eddie, what the hell?
what are
die?
you doing? dude?
Die.
Eddie's a wonderful creator on YouTube primarily, a hilarious comedian, and just like enjoyer of things and stuff, and a great tweeter as well.
Thanks.
One of my favorite tweeters.
A
in
dank
fact.
poster, I would go
Oh
so far.
God.
Yeah. Elon Musk has nothing on you, I think, except for the billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's true. The billions of dollars
And
and
he's
owning the platform you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's true.
I mean, and you know, he's an African American. I don't want.
That's
I mean,
true.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're
It's,
right.
well, and
You have white
we're still waiting
privilege.
for the 23andMe test to come in for me.
100% South African
Dude, you come in, you start doing AAVE.
Oh, no.
You brought the paper.
with a South
1/8.
African accent. Well, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
What's going on, King? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just uploaded a video I worked very hard on.
Great video.
So thank you. Also, like mainly when I do something like a video like that, because it's 40 minutes, I edit the whole thing. So I just don't want to do anything but just kind of like chill for a week.
I think that you, of the people I know in this business, are the best adjusted at doing something that you're proud of and actually appreciating and like kind of rewarding yourself and like sitting on it for a moment.
I'm glad that's how it comes off. I think like I definitely can be like sitting on it and just hoping that people like it, but it's more I think the relief of for people that don't know, the video's on Ghost Kitchens and it's like 40 minutes long. I think I already said that. But when the night before I released it, because I don't think people know a lot that like when I do those videos, I am editing, like I can't like work little chunks over like a couple of months. So it usually ends up that like most of the writing and most of the thinking about it happens for a while. And then the editing is like a 2-week I don't do anything but edit. It's like I run every day. That's the break. Yeah. And then I try and also maintain like just healthy time with like other people. Like obviously like
you're setting boundaries, like
healthy like relationship with like Chrissy of us hanging out. I would never be like, hey, I'm gone for 2 weeks. Yeah. But anything other than that,
I'm editing.
I'm a YouTube phenom.
Don't forget.
I'm on my computer.
I'm gaming.
Hey Eddie, do you want to go on a walk? Do you know you're talking to?
But I would
don't even talk to me until I've had my edit.
Premiere, yeah. Don't even talk to me until I've had my Premiere Pro.
But I would describe like the last 9 days of my life as other than those moments, like other than spending time with Chrissy or like sleeping or eating. It is like wake up at 9 a.m., edit for 12 hours that day, then hang out with it still kind of in the back of my brain, and then wake up and do it. So then I think it's mainly that when I'm done, I'm like, I couldn't even possibly think about making another video right now. I just need to like escape from this for a little bit because I put all my energy in.
You don't want to resent the process.
Yeah. And I also get convinced the day before uploading that everybody's going to hate it.
Yeah, sure.
I was going to ask if you went through that cycle, because I think there is a cycle of like, I have a great idea. I shot the idea. I'm editing, and then I shot the idea. It didn't go as I imagined it in my head. Now I'm editing the idea. Is this anything?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wait, I'm onto something. And then by the time you've seen it so many times, you're like, I hate it, and no one is gonna like it.
Yes, and something I'm trying to work on. One, it's probably so annoying to people in my life is like, to help with that, I'll show people like what I've done. I'll show clips like all the time.
Send me clips and stuff. I love it.
Because I need some kind of good feedback because I'm trying to work on this. The self-talk in my head during the entire editing process is just like, I will picture, and in some ways it's helped me, but in some ways it's hurt me. I picture always this viewer that like hates me so much and like is so ready to click off the video, and not in an attention way, like for like audience retention or whatever.
Right.
But more so that like, for people thinking that it's good. I'm like rewatching, and if I say a point that's like not worded in the best way, my brain will immediately be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. I can't fucking stand this dude.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's like I was convinced right before the Ghost Kitchen video came out that the comments were gonna roll in and people were gonna be like, dude, you worked really hard on this, but like it's clear that you tried, man, but this sucks. Like, I don't know why.
Give it a go.
That's YouTube comments, man. It's like well-constructed feedback with considered points.
We love comments.
Yeah.
And it's always people who have done exactly what you are doing and can really like put themselves in your shoes and
people that
judge you accurately.
It's often people that have done literally anything ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not maybe have no sense of community or raised on Discord.
Because the people who do the most are the ones who have time to write comments.
Yes. And there's also...
Took a break from raising my family. Checking in. Hey, Eddie... Enjoy a lot of the stuff. Peaked at knees. People have been like, so peaked at knees is such a deep cut of mine. But I'm an old man. What can I say?
They've actually rolled in for this one and been exactly what I was hoping for. People are super nice then and are like, we can tell how hard you worked on this, but also very interesting on that. Actually, if we want to talk about Ghost Kitchen stuff later, I can save that. If that's
we're good.
A lot of people. Which is not like research I could have done before, have now who either like worked at a ghost kitchen or like as in the industry of those companies or like worked at say like a Red Robin where they added like a Mr. Beast burger, have just been like flooding my comments with like this tripled the labor of our kitchen for no extra pay, or like the food quality was awful. Like I had to quit because I didn't feel good about us like sending out meat that wasn't good for people. That's not just Mr. Beast burger, but that's anything.
For those who don't know what a virtual kitchen is or a ghost kitchen, it is a nameless, brandless like kitchen that is making food for a fake virtual restaurant.
Yeah, so there's virtual restaurant kitchens that are a building that are like they really only make a specific set menu of foods, and then they just invent like 100 virtual fake restaurants
Yeah,
that all
With,
pretend to be
pithy
separate
names
businesses.
and like go for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Codfather. I
Yeah.
do love. It's like I feel like I have No, it's not a sixth sense. I know when a dumb pun is when I see it. It's like every one of these fucking ghost kitchens is the silliest.
At least they have fun with it. That's
It
the
is-
one thing I'll
it
give
is
them.
fun. Talk
If you're
about
gonna
it.
lie,
or
get
whatever.
nasty.
Yeah.
But then others can be like existing businesses. So like you can a frequent one is Buca de Beppo or like a Red Robin.
Yeah, Red Robin,
or
yeah.
a Chili's or an IHOP that is like they take their menu and they're like, well, we make shitty quesadillas. What if we just pretended to also be a quesadilla place?
Can I just randomly say, by the way, I didn't find out about Buca de Beppo till, like 2017. It was like a friend of ours, Cole's wedding.
Yeah.
And it sounds racist. The name.
It sounds like you're making fun. Sounds like you're making fun of an Italian person.
Literally, it just sounds like okay, what?
Can we
accent
go to
am I
To-
making fun
Yeah,
of?
hey, let's go to Tony Spaghetti's
Yeah,
or whatever.
Sometimes we don't generally end up cutting it out because we do check and we try and be respectful. But every now and then we'll like use a term on the show and we're like, we should look that up. Am I accurate? Like Kiwi, we checked because Kiwi is used natively. We're like, let's just triple check.
But also, yeah.
Somebody was like, yeah, it's I was just going to like Buca de Beppo. Fucking, excuse me.
Isn't it so
Jacob, you wanna
fun
come?
to say?
It
though?
is very
It's
fun to say.
unreal how fun Buca de Beppo is to say.
dude.
Like y'all were talking, and I wanted to say Buca de Beppo. Buca de Beppo.
Go for it.
Buca de Beppo. It
the
kind of sounds like
hell?
someone's doing like rap god, like Buca de Beppo.
There were times that I'd be like ranting to Chrissy about like something I found out in the research for it, and no joke, I'd be like kind of pissed, but then I would.
Wait,
Jacob's just turned his laptop around and on Google Translate it says Buca
Buca
de
de
Beppo
Beppo.
translates to pothole.
I don't understand.
That doesn't
don't
help. That's
understand.
worse.
is that is it like the bottomless pit of Italian food?
Actually, I think maybe they might have some kind of like big pasta deal, so maybe that's. But I was like, I would be ranting about something I researched, and no joke, I'd be like in the middle of being really mad about this like kind of insidious like business, and then in my brain, as I saw, I'd be like, oh great, in the middle of my anger, I get to say Buca de Beppo in 20
de
seconds.
Beppo.
I'd be like, it's coming. It's
the
almost
Buca
like
de
a
Beppo's
Guitar
coming.
Hero note.
Yeah, no, literally, you're like seeing it
Like-
scroll across.
I was seeing an open space for a solo.
Yeah.
Think about what this does for labor and small businesses, and they make them at Buca de Beppo.
Buca de Beppo.
That's
so
a
fun.
hammer on.
Yeah. Buca de Beppo. It's
My brain's whammying this shit out of that word.
I was gonna say the most insidious takeaway that I had from your video was how if you just make a bunch of fake restaurants, you can push out real like restaurants from the like I was gonna say from the algorithm, but from the feed, because all of these food apps, delivery apps operate on a feed, and there's only so much space on the screen.
Yeah, I ended up cutting out this example because I felt like people kind of understood it the most. But one of the first things that I wrote so like what we mentioned of the virtual restaurant kitchen, specifically, it'll be like in like kind of a more neighborhood type area, I feel like, at least in LA, where this one kitchen will have, like, say the one I found was 44 different restaurants. But the example that I wanted to give is like, imagine if your family used like, there's like recipes from like your grandmother, and they're like, you think, oh, we should open up a restaurant. You either get a loan and like put your life savings into opening this
Right.
place. Let's say it's just like an authentic taco place. And then you like finally are starting to get some business. And then one of these kitchens opens like down the block from you. They instantly open up like 4 or 5 competitors just making tacos.
Yeah.
Instantly on Uber Eats or Postmates or DoorDash.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're instantly
It's just-
getting
It
pushed
should
out.
not be allowed to do that because
Yeah.
they are effectively the same restaurant.
Right.
So it's like if IHOP surrounded, it was just if you scrolled and it was like IHOP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like literally, what is the difference between just having more listings?
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that and eclipsing the one actual place.
And one
Yeah.
thing it's still not fair, but one thing I understand is that like there's a lot of stuff I cut because it was like too hard to follow. Like I was scrolling through and I found this pizza place and I was like, I'm just gonna check if this is a ghost kitchen. And I checked and it's a local pizza place that I've gotten stuff from, and I believe it's like a semi-small business. And I think just to up their business, they doubled the pizza places like on Uber Eats. So they
Right.
pretend to be 2. And it's like, I mean, I don't think that's right either, but if you're competing against all of these virtual restaurants, it's like you, I guess, have to play the game if you're trying to keep your like family afloat. I don't know. It's just like
one
a
of those
fucked
things where you
business.
can tell when it's wrong, right? Because when you're like, oh, there's 44 virtual restaurants for one physical location.
So easy to talk about the ethics of it when you can just tell somebody a fact and they're like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Yeah.
Like
that
it's so easy.
I remember you sent me. Well, I don't want to ruin the video, but there's a great.
Leave
reveal.
this and go watch my content.
Yeah. There's a great
wait.
reveal of information. I think you just watch Eddie's video. It's wonderful.
We're covering all the same shit. Don't fucking leave.
Let's leave it here as a little teaser.
So
Play it now.
Before we started talking about the we just put it in the middle of the video.
It's
like
really small.
Silent like the Subway surfers at the bottom.
It's like minus 30 decibels. You can hear it the whole time.
So before we started talking about some of the nitty gritty ghost kitchen stuff, we were talking about the feedback. And one of the things that I've been seeing on social media the past few days is just random people on my feed casually talking about the new Eddy Burback video. And that was like, so like, I was like, ooh.
Send me those.
Yeah, I know.
I saw Noah said something. That's one I saw.
Oh yeah, I saw Noah said something. Also,
Dude, Noah's a reply guy. He gets in. He always just says nice stuff on new videos.
Yeah.
It's fun.
but yeah, I saw somebody else, this random account that I follow was just like, I just learned that Mr. Beast is younger than me from the new Eddy Burback video or whatever, which is great, by the way. And I was like, let's fucking go.
You have a very like interesting relationship with the broader internet community. Like known as just Eddy to a lot of people, independent of just being like, we have a lot of like poster friends, right? Like people that are just very popular on poster, but they're like kind of artificial to people, that people don't assume that they're full human beings. They see them as people
Just
on
like
Twitter.
large characters.
And then just assume they get loads of money, and that it's just like, again, there's a mirage to like how people work when you don't see them that much.
Yeah.
But there's something specifically about you that people are very like protective of. Do you remember when like Keem said some bullshit about you, and the internet, like a guard dog, like everyone I know was just like, I'm gonna murder and kill you. Don't speak to that. Don't ever talk to me or my son Eddie.
Yeah, it was nice to see people. It's like it was
like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was. That's something too that it's like I even think back and it's like I don't even like give a shit to even. I don't even think I'd respond to something like that now. It's like, as you get older and you spend more time on the internet, you're like, that type of interaction. It's just like super weird. But I also did think it was kind of funny at the time.
It's probably a boost, really.
Yeah,
and then you get to validate this position you have now of, I'm not going to engage with that because I already know that the other people like me, and I don't need the validation of Keem.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I think I don't know what that is. I'm people are very nice. I think part of it might be my guess maybe is that, and this is like, I've not given it really any thoughts. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but I was pretty young when I started doing this. And I mean, I would even say emotionally, like there's definitely, it's not unheard of at all for somebody who's like about 20 to like have their YouTube channel start working.
Yeah.
But I also went to community college and did not have like kind of adult experiences. I had some. I would visit friends at college and I would like drink at home and like play video games and with like my brother Tony or my friend Zach. And it's just like, I felt like I didn't have like a real perspective and was definitely very new to everything when everything started. And my guess maybe is that some people that have followed me during that time have like maybe feel that a little bit of protection because they've seen me like grow into a real person now. I'm a real boy now.
I mean, damn, dude, you never know the last time you're going to pick up your kid, right? Like it is just it's jazz, not science. Who knows? It's that plus a bunch of other factors. But I think you just at an intersection of like certain audiences and produce a certain type of work and I don't know, present yourself well. Feels like I'm again just buttering the BLT.
Hey, I love this. This
I don't
is
like
great.
you outside of content.
You're content. To me.
Like as a person, you're bad.
You're
But at least you
social
make good
blade
videos. I was gonna say I think you're easy to root for because I think you've got a good head on your shoulders, and I've always felt this way about you. And I'm, we're not much older than you, but I think that when you're in your early 20s, you can feel that like gap a little bit more. So I think when we met, you were like in my head as just a slightly more green, slightly
absolutely.
younger, and then I always was like, you always had like a hometown kind of friend energy. And I always felt like we got along, and, I thought really highly of you, and that has not changed. And so I'm glad that like, the internet at large is, seeing your value. And we can call out a parasocial relationship or anything like that, but we're all biased, but we like love to see a friend thriving and a good person thriving.
Yeah, I think even that parasocial stuff has been nice because I've also spent time talking about it like publicly before too, and I think people have been like pretty respectful. I think also part of the reason that some people, and I'm not agreeing with this everybody likes me thing because I don't think that's true, but I do like I think
I didn't say that.
We don't like you. I don't know that we made that clear.
Tony is like, he's not a fan, like as much.
Tony I love. Well, it's one thing I always mention. Tony still will just be like oh, you uploaded, like if it's like the next day and he knows like I worked really hard on it, but like he
this is Eddie's brother Tony, twin
brother Tony.
You're Eddie.
Yeah, that's me. Oh, you booked the wrong guy.
Real awkward. Oh shit! But we gotta get Tony on.
I think part of
He's
it,
funny.
Dude, I love that guy. Did you see the intro on whatever his name is? This guy's video.
We should head out, man.
that was the best
I heard he did that in 30 minutes.
But I also think it's something I enjoy doing, and I think is also good. Is I don't want people to see me if I don't have something to like show them. And I think that also creates like a good feeling of like, oh, cool, he's back. Cause it's like, I'm like a kid who's like drew a picture and everybody's the parent that I'm like, please put it on the fridge. Like that's all I want. And then I go back to drawing and then that's it.
No, that's real.
It's like if a kid came up with a drawing and it's like photo real. It's like, what the fuck? Okay,
this is
cool.
photorealistic drawing of Mr. Beast, but like he's like the statue of David naked as well.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I challenged 100 Renaissance sculptors.
It's Mr. Beast as the thinker.
I do want to the reply guy like thing, or the internet dunking on Keem when he like went after Eddy reminded me of something that is probably in here somewhere. Or do I? No,
I challenged 100 Trojans to sneak inside this horse.
Yeah.
100.
It's like they're all in the horse.
The Mr. Beast thumbnail is him shushing people inside the horse.
That's went inside a Chinese dragon to see if there were guys in there.
So
I created a new disease to
Now
try and
this is
shut down the
chills.
world.
Picture the thumbnail of Mr. Beast parting the Red Sea.
No, dude, Mr. Beast.
he's like wojacking.
He's jacking the Red Sea. That'd actually be an awesome thumbnail.
I was betrayed by one of my disciples, and it's the thumbnail's this.
I feel like that is Mr. Beast's process where he, like, now that we've come up with a good thumbnail concept, he's probably gonna make it happen.
Wait, last to leave the Last Supper challenge.
Oh, that's true.
Judas, sit down, mate. Where are you going? I've got to go talk to someone.
I grabbed my 12 producers to
I saw who can stay the longest on a crucifix.
I have a feeling that Jimmy would be like, it would be a big video if I died and came back 3 days later. That'd be a fucking awesome video.
I was raptured. I sound like Chills.
No, you sounded like Chills this entire time. I was trying to say you were doing your Chills voice.
That's my Buca de Beppo. I just love speaking in the Chills voice. It's nice.
Okay, I saw a Mr. Beast short recently. It was a interview of Mr. Beast. So and he was talking about when he dies, how he wants to have a last to stop touching his tombstone challenge with
I thought you were gonna say his body. I was like, oh man.
with like Carl and all of his friends,
His family.
To be honest, that's one thing where I'm like, that's kind of funny. That's
no,
fine.
but he said do it for real. And if anybody like gets mad, he like wants it.
I kind of fuck with that. There's rare things that
I know it was funny, but
That's like the One Piece. Like, when I die, all of my treasure will be somewhere in the Great Sea.
the one thing I wanted to talk about is something I think we probably are all familiar with related to Mr. Beast. which is
how hot he is.
How'd you know? It's the chocolate debacle.
The
Walmart
chocolate
situation. So
Summoning all children.
So Mr. Beast tweeted
Like the Pied Piper.
he tweeted, "I need your help." Okay, so first of all, when this tweet came out, I texted it to Eddie and Chrissy, and I texted it to you and Anastasia, and I was like, "This something's gonna happen here." And then there were crickets for a moment, and then recently there's been a tidal wave of backlash on this tweet.
Yeah.
But the tweet was, "I need your help. Next time you see Feastables in Walmart and soon to be new retailers, if you could clean up the presentation and make it look better, that'd make me very happy. I'm building a team to do this routinely. Just need help in the short term." And then
Building a team. It's going to take months.
it's like, I understand. Like, I just want to say that I don't think any of us have ever said that like Mr. Beast is malicious in his approach.
He's a CEO.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
so
also I think he's just like, I don't know if he was, and he also does respond well to feedback, or at least responds to feedback in as good a way as I could expect him to. But the concept of like asking your young and impressionable audience to like do labor for you as one of like the richest YouTubers ever in the history of the world.
Just doesn't even have to be that it's a weird thing or an unethical thing. It's just bad optics. It's a very weird thing to do.
I think mainly, and I was really back and forth of how I wanted to talk about Mr. Beast in my video, especially like how it relates to, you know, his business being like the #1 ghost franchise in the world, or maybe not the world, but at least the US, I think. But I think mainly my big, like, after consuming a lot of the stuff recently, my big like observation of Mr. Beast is that like he's definitely, I mean, I think we all know like somebody who like grew up probably worshiping like a bunch of CEOs, like loves Elon, or at least loved him.
That's like documented that he's a huge Steve Jobs
mainly fan. Like I think it's that like Jimmy just like doesn't think about these things like a lot of other people do, but he's starting to be put in such a power position that he needs to think about these things. Yeah. And I think it's like in his head, he's probably confused when people criticize him for like the blind thing or like, or for this, because he's probably like, what the fuck? I was just trying to do good business. Right. And you're like, oh, I think there's like a different worldview kind of talk that we're having here.
And it's probably like any doubt would just be immediately alleviated with like, but I'm curing blind people.
Yeah. And he's also
good points.
Yeah. He's also 24 and had the craziest 3 years that anyone on the internet has ever had.
Yeah, dude.
And
ride.
Have you know, it's the same thing with Elon as well. Like, have you noticed the company around him, the way that like new people will treat him? I wish people would just talk, for his sake, I wish people would just talk to him like a person. Yeah. But like, there's also
like the
this.
more familiar they get, the faster they filter out of his group.
Yeah, this even makes me worry about him as a person where I don't know if you guys have noticed, like, especially when they're shooting something, there's been this industry created on YouTube now where if you make something for Jimmy and make a YouTube video about it and try to deliver it to him, you might have your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And so now he's like flooded with people in his life who are like, if I could do just anything for you to mention my name, YouTube might change my entire fucking life.
Right.
And it's like, how do you have normal, even work relationships with somebody?
It's like people, like literally there's a genre of YouTube where it's like, I can deliver a Game Boy to God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I made God a custom Game Boy and watch as I try my hardest to get it into his hands. And then I will be ascended to the promised land.
Yeah. And I worry too that he's just not exactly thinking about the fact that I don't know if he realizes how much of a fucking chokehold he has on kids and their attention and what he does to their attention spans with the editing of those videos.
And what great power, great responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not legally obliged to act with tact or consideration of how his audience works and the impact he can have. But you do have a huge impact.
Right.
You are in a position of extreme power. And it's like, yeah, man, I mean, shit. Bezos doesn't have to fix world hunger with a single transaction, but Spider-Man doesn't have to save anyone.
Yeah.
It's just odd. it's a weird lesson to learn. His Uncle Ben hasn't died yet. He has not had the like revelatory moment. And I think sometimes I feel not bad to criticize, but I like you're saying, I wish there was an avenue where he's getting that feedback in a way that can be communicated like a real human being.
Yeah.
Because Twitter is so adversarial.
Twitter is so adversarial because
his
it
feedback
rewards.
is like, "Hello, you big fucking bitch."
No, that's like
Jesus.
I literally.
Also,
go ahead.
I was
Eddie?
just gonna say ideologically too. There's something where it's like I totally understand from the person that he seems to be. It like I'm sure the second he sees this kind of feedback, he's like, I have like fed families and like changed a bunch of businesses and I give away a ton of money. And like, obviously I know where we all kind of lie is like that type of philanthropy doesn't help the core problem.
Sure. Yeah.
But like from everybody's praising him and a ton of people are like, look how giving he is. And so I totally get why he could see this criticism and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, cause I would say from my perspective, at least it doesn't do like the core problem any good with that philanthropy, but he has done more for the world than I have when it comes to philanthropy. That's not something to be like, he's changing the world. No. But it is like one of those things where I totally get where if he saw criticism from me, he'd be like, well, let's see you give away $1 million, you fuck. And it's like,
especially with the relationship he has with content where it is like, I mean, the number of channels that he's coached that have then also blown up, he would assume, well, Eddie's not blowing up because he's not doing the right thing.
Right.
If he customized his content and made things a little differently and uploaded in a different way, well, then he'd have the money and then he can like, bring polio back to cure it again.
Yeah.
He's just like the
I brought polio back just to cure it again.
I'm just doing, I made polio too.
That's chills.
No, dude.
He's I brought back
I brought back polio just to cure it again.
There is actually with the
Mr. Beast.
the Ghost Kitchen video, there was one moment I was like so exhausted from like 5 or 6 days of editing, and I needed like a couple of Mr. Beast clips to like introduce him, and I cried laughing by myself in the dark in a room because I don't watch his content often, and I just clicked one video and he goes, I put 100 boys and 100 girls in 2 circles. But the innocence in the way that he said it was like 100 boys and 100 girls. It was like such a schoolyard.
I gathered 200 Korean adults in great debt and put them in a game of red light, green light.
It's like when you ask a child
when he
about
literally did do Squid Game.
It's like when you ask a child about the like Legos that they built or like the story between their action figures and they have like such enthusiasm about it. But I just think that we exist in a capitalist system and Mr. Beast is the best at existing in that system.
Oh yeah, he's
like
the YouTube algorithm and like capitalism kind of personified.
This one is so. I almost see why he doesn't get why basically directing child labor is so insidious is because it's not financially related. This is just it's not tidy. So I'll ask people to tidy it with my platform.
It's just like, I think he has a completely different worldview that like, I think a lot of the criticism of just dunking him on Twitter like is not going to work for the most part. Yeah. And that's why especially like I wanted to, in my video, like at least talk to him kind of directly, at least for a moment. Yeah. But there's also, I think one thing that I really from like, and I always cringe with YouTube. It's like to call it's always weird to like call yourself like from an artist standpoint, but like I from at least one that like views art all the time. Right. Watching some interviews with him, he clearly I think really incorrectly believes that what it works with the YouTube algorithm is good art. And what doesn't, he has referred to as terrible videos. Yeah. And it's like if we're giving up judgment of human art to like a machine learning algorithm that is just like pretty much how long can you jingle the keys in front of the baby, then it's like that's
we've like, lost if that's where we
and
are.
That's the thing
if he's not laughing, then what was even the point of making it?
And I had a lot of those thoughts, but again it's like if you mention this stuff to Jimmy, the understandable thing from his entire worldview is like, but it works. What do you want me to like make my videos do worse so I can have a longer intro? What the fuck are you stupid? So I don't know.
There's no etiquette, I guess, is because like we might even struggle, and I'm sure a lot of the people that like intuitively understand why it's so strange to request that children do Facing Up. That's what we called it when I worked at Iceland in the UK. A place where they sell stuff, not the country.
Mm-hmm.
You explain. I don't understand. I'm just as confused. But I think most people would struggle to articulate why it's bad. Same kind of with some of the thumbnails, like the crying child, where it's like, it's just ick. It's just the vibes are off, and that's enough to confuse and stress people out. But those people are not going to be able to give feedback that's like comprehensible.
Right.
Yeah. And it's so, okay. So I can easily see someone seeing this conversation and being like, oh, why are you treating Mr. Beast with kid gloves? He XYZ is bad, yada, 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 which I don't necessarily believe. I do think it's a systemic thing. Like, I think it's like he is exploiting a system, and he, is being criticized for that. And I think that that's totally fine. I do think that when you exacerbate that with Twitter, you get this very strange outcropping of like, capture the social media points, where like where extremity is rewarded. And so in the response to this outcry, in response to this tweet that in Mr. Beast's mind was probably like mundane and normal, is now people like destroying his displays in Walmart.
I also think, and I think we know is like the huge problem with I think a lot of the discourse online, and we're all like guilty of this, is that a lot of people on Twitter apply their like either progressive, like leftist worldview, and they on Mr. Beast, like he thinks that way and is doing it anyways.
Yes.
And it's like, this is a kid who is, and this is not me giving him credit, but just trying to understand how it happened. Like, this is a kid who's 24 and makes his videos out of like North Carolina in kind of like his own circle.
Compound.
And like goes on interviews with people, and they're like, so you're a genius. And like, we need to pick your brain because we're all wondering, you have this secret and we want to know the secret.
And what do you want to know? I've got all the answers.
And then somebody on Twitter is like, no, he like completely understands like every single complicated facet and has a completely separated view of himself from somebody who watches Hassan streams all the time. And they know exactly what he's doing.
This person has most certainly not started engaging with theory in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Also, I say that lovingly from I consume a lot of Hassan's content. So that wasn't me being like those people.
No, we do too.
I don't watch the streams though, because I don't watch streams live. I just
look, it's just as easy for us to like generate an insular mindset, because not only are we on the West Coast, in LA, B, LAB, my brain is shutting down.
Whoa.
But also, we are, amongst peers that all agree in the same way that Jimmy would be. Not only that, but his, they have to be kind of accommodating.
And I think what we are trying to do right now is what you said, I think very well, is we're not projecting our worldview onto him. We're contextualizing him within his own worldview. Yeah. Which is the way that you make sense of it, because he's not like maliciously, acting against the views of like someone who had has a more like leftist perspective. He's acting within his, I don't know his political leanings, but he's very capitalist pilled.
He's operating within the default propaganda.
Yeah, default.
That is the way more people think.
Yeah, and he's not wrong. Look at the numbers don't lie. There are more people who are just like, this is cool, like when they get the keys jangled in front of them than not, because we like those Twitter circles are super extreme and also super small in reality.
It's one of those things
that must be maddening, right? Like 20 million views on this video and 100,000 people liked a tweet that was clowning on me. Feels like a lot of human beings on Twitter, and doesn't feel like it's really calculable compared to views, which probably is confusing and like, but look how small a number you people are.
Also, I think, and sorry to keep extending the Mr. Beast convo.
I actually have another thing I want to say, but continue.
I don't know if there's like any type of terminology for it, but I think there's like this kind of phenomenon when it comes to people who are very powerful and very famous. Elon is one of these people as well, who might be, and this is not like a dig at Mr. Beast at all, but like Elon and Mr. Beast strike me as people who maybe are like a little bit insecure from their upbringing and like have all this power now. But I think there's this not talked about thing where everybody they encounter in real life is like, you are a god to me. And then they go on Twitter and they're like, hey, like I'm awesome. And then immediately the feedback is like, fuck you, die.
Yeah.
And then like, people will kind of talk about like, what world are they living in? I don't know. That's a crazy world to live in.
Yeah, because they're probably living in the
real world is fake to them too.
Exactly.
The people that are near them are like, I need to pick your brain. You're a genius. You're a god. Like nobody is normal to them.
Yeah.
And probably most people are, even people that dislike them or disagree with, or like somebody like Elon, I'm talking about more than Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Like probably doesn't have the guts to say it in person to him.
Sure.
Being a Marvel star, being like an A-list celebrity that goes on press tour and has 300 interviews a year where they say, nobody says they don't like the movie.
Yeah.
Nobody says their performance wasn't incredible. And then they go online and they're like, oh, I've had this vaccine. And everyone's like surprised that they're insane.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know. It's kind of the way it feels like that current system. That current system just feels like the way to like rot the brain of somebody who like maybe could have been open to like criticism before.
Yeah.
But it's like because Twitter is a little bit the real world too, and people being really fake to you in person is a little bit the real world, but neither of them are actually like real life.
So this is a great jumping off point because let's see.
That's what I do.
Let's see
Check it
how
out.
you jump off.
Let's kill ourselves. Let's jump off.
I kind of did a little
Let's see
move
how
there,
Mr.
and nobody appreciated it. I did a whole leg move.
Oh
and
yeah, that was.
I hope we
can
cut
get
to
that
it when I
back?
did it. Here, hold up.
My
Here.
man, I'm not kidding when I say somebody will timestamp every time we sit a different way.
Yeah, there's
That's
a lot of
real
discourse
thing.
about the way we sit.
Huh.
because-
We'll see a screenshot and it's tagged bisexual sitting at 15 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh.
That's just how it goes.
I
Here
like it. Keep
in
doing
Sad
it. It's
Boys
funny.
Town. I was gonna say, let's see how Mr. Beast responds to criticism. So, famous shit poster on Twitter, Juniper, who I follow.
I saw this directly.
Yeah, it was like, and this is a genre of tweet, but it is in the more extreme where it's a troll.
Yeah.
It's a troll post. It's a shit post, but that Mr. Beast, what the actual hell, and then it's a fake job listing that is completely serious about like hiring a child to like fix the chocolate thing because it's taking it to the logical extreme.
Yeah.
And Mr. Beast responds, and his response is, "I'm all for dunking on me, but no need to spread lies," which honestly, in the sort of spectrum of replies, fine.
There's two parts of my brain where one part goes, man, that fake tweet is hilarious. And then part of my brain goes like, he's like a little right there.
Yeah,
I guess because the tweet like went viral, you know? But
No,
like,
exactly. I feel a little bit conflicted because I do think that this is like a thing where you take it and run with it. And there's always going to be people like pushing that line.
Yeah.
And it's a line that I am personally uncomfortable with. I will follow and laugh at the other people who toe it.
Right, but I won't make it myself.
But I won't make it
that's-
myself.
I mean, we're talking about like, this is punching up to the peak of Everest. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a punch up to the degree where, yeah, like I don't give a fucking shit about that, whatever. Like in this
Yeah.
particular case, I'm like, just gotta learn to hang.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and he's, I thought this was interesting because he isn't going full Elon.
No, he's not. He even, I think, has like kind of criticized Elon for his behavior. Like
He's
just very like,
He's replying like people do to Elon when they're like, the kind of people that are like, I'm starting to lose respect for him after he told a disabled man that he'd like cut his head off and
And
be
that,
dead to like.
I mean, if you're down, we are prepared to talk about that. And it's in here.
oh yeah.
But yeah, also Mr. Beast tweeted and deleted, or actually, did he delete this? I don't remember. It's still up.
Hell
So
yeah.
it was, damn, having Jacob here is so great.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jacob
you
has
didn't
just-
like the show prior.
Oh no, sorry.
We brought
Well,
Jacob on sort of in
Tony.
the reboot of the show, doing it in person again, and it has just been such a joy. Okay. To show, he tweeted to show how grateful I am that. Sorry, I forgot. This is another element of this that made me laugh. To show how grateful I am that helped titty things up.
Titty things up.
2 Ds.
Mr. Beast, this is Doubtfire arc. What the fuck?
Yeah, he just slightly missed.
I've never heard titty thing. Oh, he meant tidy.
I
Okay.
He meant tiny, he meant tiny. But I saw this and I cracked up because it's the most earnest. It's the most honest. It's the most
Yeah.
honest mistake. But just in this context, it's so funny.
Just if there were one tweet to not make typos,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like a press release.
Yeah.
And so this is a little bit him like kind of seeing the criticism and going, oh yeah, I'm gonna donate $100,000 to charity. Will this make it go away?
Yeah.
How many karma points to beat like the downvotes?
It's like he's offsetting his carbon like footprint, or
which
something.
is somebody who's like trying their best with, I think, their worldview to make it
no,
right.
he is trying.
And
it's
like
fascinating.
but he's using the exact toolkit. He's
Yeah.
like, I'll do the good money thing.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, it's all money every time. Where it's like, can I remedy this with money? Like, is that is that the solution?
He's like, I'm gonna give $10,000 to. It is like, what's the right answer?
Which charity is it okay to do child labor?
Yeah, who do I cure? Like, what makes this go away? But yeah,
You know what's funny about his? I'm just realizing now is that I think part of the thing that's difficult for him is that, and I respect this far more so than say like Logan Paul and KSI's approach to this exact thing, is that he does care how he as a person is represented online, because KSI and Logan are doing the exact same thing with Prime. They have like, you've seen the TikToks of kids like crying because there's no Prime.
Yeah, in the UK, I think exclusively, because in America it's like everywhere. But then
the hell, dude,
your kind.
they're hard to find. Yeah,
Prime popped up so fast. I remember hearing about Prime, and then I went home for the holidays, and I saw a Prime truck like pass my mom's place, and I was like, "How quickly did this become a major brand? Holy shit!"
There's something just more insidious to me about the passive way of doing that, about generating the like fury and intensity without. It's also, I mean, this is just the ick part, but it's so adult coded. Like Prime is so explicitly like, here's an energy drink product. Yeah. And the kids are like, I love you for making this. Thank you so much.
That's the thing. The biggest like actual, because I know like it's like a lot of us, I don't want to sound like we're being like too fair, but I also want to be fair in the way of like how this happens. And like, I think the biggest criticism I've always had throughout, like even publicly, like my entire career, is the way that some people, I think Logan definitely exactly knows like when he was taking advantage of kids for money. Like when he was like specifically pumping like merch ads to make sure that these kids bought this, like his sweatpants with his fucking bird wings on it or whatever the hell it was. But like, I don't think, I've seen Jimmy frequently be like, yeah, the statistics say we like 20 is the people that watch my videos. And it's like, right. But when there's 144 million people watching a video, like you also have at least 40 million kids watching, and you're selling to them.
I actually, that 20 number is like, I don't know how much Mr. Beast is thinking about the fact that
people die on their account.
And he
not logged in at all.
The people he appeals to are 8-year-olds and like 45-year-old, like normal like people working in the world who just watch a YouTube video once a month.
They're Facebook videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Most views are not logged in. Most. Like a huge.
Is there a statistic for that? Like for
I think that's every product in the world, unless it makes you do it, basically.
But
and also iPads.
Yeah. So,
so like most people that would be logged in would be people who are like subscribed to a YouTube channel, which would be more teenagers.
And Mr. Beast is the offline YouTube experience.
They are it's the most common misconception with, hey guys, what's going on? If you could subscribe, because I noticed that only 40% of you are subscribed. It's like, well, yeah,
that's the type of content that you're making.
I mean, like also 60% of people also accounting for people that just don't subscribe to stuff, even if they have an account. Like that is a very
that's even, I think the worldview split too. Like I think the assumption is that like most people buying Mr. Beast Burger are children who are like, Mom, can we order some Mr. Beast Burger? I love Jimmy and I want to support him.
Your dad's not buying the Carl or whatever. Love like, Carl, by the way. Nicest guy in the world.
I've met Carl a bit, and I think we've only kind of talked in passing, but we've been mutuals for a while, and Carl seems really sweet.
He's the sweetest boy.
But they like when you open up like the Uber Eats page for Mr. Beast Burger, the first thing that it does is also have a clickable link that I've never seen on any other store on Uber Eats, where he's there and he's like, go buy my merch. And some people are like, good business. And in my mind, I'm like, you're already getting a kid to support you with like their parents' dollar do you have to ask for another sale on top of the fucking Chandler style? Like, come on, dude. But I don't know. Funny. It's like, then some people, who are like, watching Gary Vee videos are like, that's 2 revenue sources out of 1, you fucking moron.
Like, we know.
Yeah.
That's not the thing.
I know.
It's not like we're going like, why is it there?
Yeah. It's like, I don't think they realize it's like, if you work on YouTube, it's like, I know I'm constantly like beating those offers away with a bat where I'm like, I couldn't possibly do like 50 different types of advertising because I respect the people who watch my stuff.
It's a strange balance because, we also have to make money to, continue to do what we do.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I wish most, sorry, this is like another observation thing, but the one also problem I've been thinking about, I got asked this at when Michael Reeves and I did a VidCon panel, and somebody asked about like children's content because I mentioned it before. I think we're trapped in this like forever internet cycle where kids now that grow up on YouTube know exactly how YouTube works. And then they become like 17 to 20. And a lot of the YouTubers making stuff for kids are in that 17 to 20 range because they're just doing stuff what works for numbers. They don't exactly have a voice yet. Not saying that you can't have like observations at that age, but you don't have a fully fleshed like worldview at the time.
Yeah. You shouldn't.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't. Like it would be weird if you did.
It's the point in your life that you get one of those.
Yeah, and like some people obviously have to grow up a lot quicker from their circumstances, but like then they grow up and they might change those things. But we're now trapping ourselves in this cycle where instead of like very regulated educational content for kids, it's like kids grow up and are still kids or just barely adults, and then they become the children's entertainers. And we're in just this loop of like completely irresponsible internet entertainment like business.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you fix that though? Because I'm 26 now. I don't want to make kids content. Like I don't want to be the one to do it,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just feels like something that we might be trapped in forever.
I do wonder how people, I know Mr. Beast even personally is like something I know will come up like fairly often for us, but I don't think it's just a cynical, hey, talking about the entertainment business, you seen what's going on with this stuff? Hey, what's Chris Evans doing after Captain America? I think it is just interesting as a vector for talking about YouTube in general.
Yeah.
The growth of the platform.
He is YouTube.
Our place on it is bizarre, compared to that. But it's also just...
It's at the intersection of a lot of things.
Yeah, he's also just a fascinating thing to exist.
Yeah. That's the thing is like I've a decent amount, obviously, of criticisms, like, but I would love to have an honest conversation with him because I don't think, like, I wouldn't treat him like a lot of people
I agree.
treat him in this way of like, you're amazing, but I would love to like not pick his brain on how to get my fucking audience retention up, but would just be like, hey, how much thought do you give about like making these videos educational for kids that are watching?
Our bent is to see the humanity of a person rather than just kind of isolating it to, their content, or if you disagree with them about something or what have you. So I would be comfortable also like having we would have Mr. Beast on the show. We would have an honest conversation with him.
It feels disingenuous, right? Like if to silo people outside of their content when the content is the thing. Like even if we make fun of someone on like one of our channels on like Gold or my main, right?
Yeah.
It's unless they've done something actively repulsive, it's tongue in cheek. We just had one about like the POV I'm your shampoo guy.
I love that guy.
It's creepy and weird, man. I don't know. I have no reflection on how he is as a person.
Yeah.
Unless he would respond to say that video and like POV, I'm gonna kill you while you're asleep.
As I've aged and like viewed the internet longer and longer, if you definitely go back to like videos I made before, if I was criticizing somebody because I was punching so far up and I was so young that everything was like life or death. If somebody was doing something a little bit wrong, it was like, we need to talk about this because this is the worst fucking thing in the world. And like, this is my new like villain of the week almost.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted to tear them down, but that I wanted, I think, more to make a point for me than to actually have like a nuanced conversation about it.
Right.
And yeah, as you get older, you're like, because a lot of, people that watch us are newer to the internet than us, which is weird to have that conversation because it makes me feel old as shit. But like,
yeah, I mean, you look like
those
shit.
things. Oh yeah, those things are new. When they're new, it feels like life or death. You know what I mean? Like that's the new. It's like, but then when you watch this stuff cycle a couple of times,
right?
You're like, oh, it doesn't work just to be like, hey guys, aren't I super smart and this person fucking sucks?
Yeah,
and then you just leave it there and nothing changes.
It's caustic for the soul.
Yeah,
when you get tired of doing it, it starts to hurt you.
Yeah, I mentioned years ago that Brent Rivera was kind of like exploiting his sister and mom sexually for content, and then as you see thumbnails and it's like her with 100 shirtless men recently. It's like, I didn't change anything. Nothing got helped from that.
I was presenting a Streamy Award with someone who is in a lot of Brent Rivera videos,
right? And
I like always feel like I need to come clean to the person. And I like this about myself because I was like, hey, I have to let you know I made a video about Brent Rivera in the past. It was about this.
You really have that's an honesty that I would just be
said
like,
that.
I would shut my fucking mouth about it. I'd be too scared.
I think for me,
hey, I'm Tony. I was unrelated.
I'm Tony. We're not fraternal. We're identical. I'm his identical brother.
Rip your mustache off.
Because I think people have said that this comes through in my content, but it is about talking about the content and not the character or the person. You know what I mean? And it is like, I think that in a personal context, I think it helps me break the ice because I don't want someone, if I do have to share space, because it's like I maybe will turn the other way if I don't want to broach this conversation.
Yeah.
But if we are gonna be in the same space, then I want to kind of extend them the same courtesy that I would anyone else. But I do feel like I have to address the elephant in my own head before I like do that.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it is just, I don't know. It's like a more fun way of observing the world, especially with the TikTok's especially interesting one because there's such a high velocity of content and such a high quantity of people to discover. And when a new conversation, some random discourse pops up, it's more often a new creator than an established one. So it's just, wow, this video popped off. This guy is describing himself being your shampoo. I think it's more fun to play around with the kayfabe and the character that they're trying to portray, because that's like the only material we have to play off them. If they were making 15 guys see who can grab my sister first, then that would be a little bit more of an indication. But like, what's the magic of like, who's that dude we watched? That dude, it was actually just another like weirdly over-sexualized, creepy. We watched it in like your old Office Space, where we accidentally watched porn.
Oh yeah, that guy, the guy who was like, that's a sex move.
Yeah, that's a sex move.
He got banned, I think, from TikTok.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Because in that case,
but
it felt a little more sinister. The thing he was presenting was more sinister. Like if I'd never seen Matt Walsh before, I'd never seen Ben Shapiro, I would not need to like buffer this opinion because the thing they're saying is hateful. But like, I've never been able to connect with content that's like, look at this idiot, like Leafy style.
It's wild to do that, because I also think that I stand by what I say in videos, and I stand by the fact that I would say those same things to that person's face. It's like it's not a comfortable conversation to have, and you wouldn't normally be like, hey, I don't like the cut of your jib. But
and we've known people that flip. People that are just like sycophants as soon as they meet anyone, or like shitty online, and then just like, hey. Hi.
But yeah, if someone were to say, if someone came up to my face and said, I don't like what you said about, because this happens sometimes, I would say like, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I stand by what I said. And if you want to have a conversation about that, we can. This happened recently. One of the things I wanted to say is the video I made before the last one was about this guy who makes these videos in a parking garage. And they're like, if you ask a woman for her number and she gives you her social media, then be like, why would you do that? Because I can stalk you from your social media. And it was this thing where he felt like he was opening up a dialogue between men and women. And I didn't think that he was fully on that sort of radical pipeline. It was more he was misguided. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt in the video. He commented on the video and was like, I don't like what you said or whatever. And the first feeling I had, the sinking feeling in my stomach is, was I invalid in my criticism? Was any of my criticism invalid? And then I like double, triple checked and was like, nope, I'm valid. I stand by this. You can disagree with me, but I would love to hear, you know, he said I took some stuff out of context. This is a common thing people say. And I was like, I played your TikToks in full. You know what I mean? Like
but you didn't take the raw recording and present it. And read my bibliography.
And my thing is like, if I'm showing a whole TikTok and you're saying I took it out of context, you are benefiting from the lack of context with the TikTok algorithm by making yourself seem more salacious. So you cannot be mad if you're criticized on the basis of that because you chose what to cut. You know what I mean?
It's telling. I mean, that you mentioned the thing you're scared of when you put up a video is people saying you didn't research or be considerate enough about other thing. Because that's you being like, well, I don't give enough of a benefit of a doubt. Which is, I commend you for that. That's
I appreciate it. I mean, even my thoughts on Mr. Beast that we're talking about right now, or Mr. Beast Burger or something like that, is I had to spend like months, because you mentioned like you get this kind of feeling where you're like, huh, what's that? Like when you see this, like some of this stuff from him, and I was like, I really need to sit down and like think about how I feel about this. Yeah. And while I'm doing research, like really kind of work through it, because it's like, yeah, the idea of, which is the thing I would hope and request that he put a little bit more thought into, is when you start to have more of a voice online, you have to be really fucking considerate about what you say. And that's especially when people are new blowing up on TikTok. It's so new to them, where I can also a little bit empathize, where it's like, you just don't know the impact of these things yet. You don't know that there's like a power there. And it's just, I don't know. It's
I think that context is important for people. And I try to give them some of the grace.
I think, I mean, we rightly will criticize and contest reactionary content and reactionary practices. Yeah. But the reason reactionary, and the reason it's called reactionary, is it's the default way to be. Yeah. Like if somebody, your cortisol fucking fires up, your adrenaline starts running because somebody says, hey, you should not have done that. One of the first things you have to learn in any job is taking criticism. Yeah. It was the hardest thing I had to do, like first tech job. I cried. Like I literally went home and I cried because somebody just didn't like an email I said. It was like completely unnecessary, but my brain just wasn't prepared for it because you associate bad feeling with bad things.
Yeah. Also, though, I will say on the flip side, because I don't think any of us are also like, you know, as people who have made, you know, videos criticizing people, I'm not like, oh, peace and love, I got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because I also think that, especially, and I haven't really made a lot of this type of content in the last couple of years, but you guys especially have. I think no, this is good. Okay. I think that making content that is specifically dunking on people like Tate or like extreme misogynists or obviously like racists, like that, when you're battling for the mind of like younger dudes who, you know, younger dudes with time on their hands, scariest people in society. And the way that a lot of people online have talked about exiting those pipelines is by seeing a funny video, usually like by a creator that like kind of grabbed them and pulled them out a little bit. Right. And so it's like being fair to a certain degree is good, obviously. But then I do think making like funny content that responds to really dangerous ideas is usually how people get pulled out of it, because they're like, damn, I was entertained by this and they disagreed with this person I liked. Like I think a lot of those like commentary videos or like a figure like Hassan is like really good for pulling some of these people away.
I mean, I think it is unfortunately important that it's mass coded as well. I think us saying that is very different to that radicalized audience, or even just top of the pipeline radicalized where they're teetering on the edge, is more significant to them because they want to watch somebody that seems like an adult man that is capable and fine and has had sex.
Unfortunately, you have to like, that audience is very much has to be babied out of it,
and like, that's what we can provide. Also, it's we can provide that perspective. And
that's what I mean. I think it is so much easier for the three of us as like adults that comfortably sit on a microphone and have facial hair. As arbitrary as it is, I do think that matters.
If like it is something along the lines where if like I had ever gotten into like beef with Tate, I could immediately, in the way that his audience would recognize, like try to shit on him for his hair growth. Right. Like it's something that, immediately it's like, unfortunately, a lot of the ways to flip those people are like playing by their own game, which is also dangerous too.
No, I think that by having these conversations, I think that's very meaningful and important.
And we're already doing our due diligence. Like we don't even have to try and be reasonable about it or lead with empathy at all. So even doing it a little bit, I think is more than.
I think we're also very important.
Yeah, and we're very
thinking-
attractive and cool.
Come to think of it, we're fucking famous.
We're fucking awesome.
Dude,
That's what the podcast should be about. Is how awesome we are.
Shit, awesome boys.
good little boys.
Good boys.
Whenever I'm on, it's good little boys.
Good little boys.
Minus listenership somehow. We should mention though, we went to a bar this last weekend, and Chrissy was there as well. I don't think you were with us when we went up to the bar, but the bartender went up to Chrissy and had a photo. I don't even know what the meme was.
So do you want me to from before? When we went to the bar, there was a bartender who looked near exactly like me there. Did you see that specific guy?
Yeah, he was the one, right?
He looked more like me than my fraternal twin brother. Like he actually did. Same, like little bit shorter hair, but kind of same hair, mustache, like same kind of facial structure. And when I got there, like somebody made a joke to me. It was like, "Oh, you look like that bartender," and I was like, "Oh yeah." And I got a drink from him, and there was kind of a look from him that like. I don't want to like sound awful about it, but there is like a look now as things have gotten bigger on YouTube where I'm like, I think this person might recognize me. Just like a kind of, it's like, it's that thing in the eye.
Experience.
So funny that I don't want to see it sound conceited about it. I feel like,
but like more to the people watching than you guys, I know.
Yeah, but there's this experience where someone you like make eye contact with somebody and then you get a sense, but then that also results in them usually approaching you and saying something.
Yeah. And so the thing is, he gave me the look as we were serving it. And in my head, I went, every time I see that look though, I go, oh, they can't possibly know me. That's in my head. And then I'll go like, you egomaniac. And they'll be like, can I get a picture? And I'm like, why was I so mean to myself? Yeah. But in my head, I was like, oh, this look is not about knowing me. This look is because we look exactly the same. And this is just like a fun moment. And then you and Chrissy went up for a drink and that guy had mentioned that the other bartenders were telling him earlier in the night that he looked like the guy from the Anal Kingdom meme. And then I came up to the bar that night. And so his look was like, not, I know you from YouTube, but holy shit, they told me I look like that guy from that meme. And then that guy from that meme bought a drink from me tonight.
Yeah. And then he pulled up the photo and showed me and Chrissy.
Yeah.
And
like Chrissy hasn't seen.
The one bad thing was that Chrissy said yes, because I thought it would be so funny.
Oh, that's not him.
Dude, are you insane? Gaslighting doesn't exist. You're being hysterical.
Also, can I speak on that meme very quickly?
Please.
So there's a picture of when I was on the Rainforest Cafe trip of Chrissy and I when we were at Animal Kingdom. And what had happened was Chrissy was like, hey, sometimes people will do that thing where they block out the animal and it just says Anal Kingdom. We should take that picture. And I was like, that's hilarious. So we took the picture and then it started blowing up online on like all of these accounts that were adding captions like that implied that like she doesn't know. He set her up for the photo and she doesn't know. And I'm like, this is Chrissy's fucking idea. And the caption will be like, this legend set up his girlfriend. this epic legend set her up for this photo.
Or whatever.
Yeah, actually, like accounts like that.
Yeah,
it was on accounts like that. And it would be like, she doesn't know with like 2 devil
Dudes
emojis.
posting their W's.
Honestly. And it was like, dude, it was her funny idea.
Yeah.
This communist girl trolled by capitalist legend.
Yeah.
Feminist wrecked by comedian boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, by husband. Just like doesn't even make any sense. Destroyed.
So I did mention this earlier, but have you guys seen the Elon's latest drama?
Mm-hmm.
The king don't miss. Never boring.
Always,
every new season still hits.
So epic, always posting W's.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but like the story, if you haven't seen, is that Elon basically, he's so confidently wrong. It's impressive. And
every time you think that basic human intuition would just basic self-preservation.
Yeah.
Like just not even double checking, just one time checking something
That's
before
the thing.
going with your instincts.
I mentioned before that kind of like weird world that gets created for people like Mr. Beast or him. But the interesting thing about Elon, I think, is that like he is also on top of it just such an absolute piece of shit. Like where he thinks that people love him in person and then people hate him online, but he's also like one of the worst people I've ever seen behave online ever, where he's just so cool, like being so openly wrong and such a piece of shit, and is just like, I'll be covered by it. It's just so, I hate him so much.
He spent his entire life pre-internet, post-business, post-excessive wealth, and now post-Twitter purchase, being told by everyone in person and actually, hugely online, the ones that he wants to listen to, that he is an exceptional genius.
Yep. And also funny. The worst thing they ever did was convince him he was funny over the last couple of years.
He has never worked hard on anything.
No.
However, it's like if Robert Downey Jr. was like, I saved New York, right? Yeah. That was me. I remember saving...
Robert Downey Jr. has the real Iron Man's PTSD from the Avengers from
the war. When he was in space and he blows back.
He like thinks that in Age of Ultron, when like the mom comes up and is like, you were responsible for the death of my son. And then it's like Robert Downey Jr. goes to bed at night and is like, man, I can't believe I did that to that young boy.
I really miss Pepper Potts, my girlfriend.
Okay, but the TLDR is basically this world-renowned Icelandic designer named Holly, who is like hailed as a luminary design like voice, who had this company called Ueno, this design firm that was acquired by Twitter. Posted on Twitter, I don't know if I've been like fired or not. I can't get in touch because Twitter's doing all these layoffs. I can't get in touch with HR. They're not responding to my emails. Or no, the head of HR cannot confirm if I'm employed or not, which is like they're already in contact with HR. He, as an aside, has a disability. He has muscular dystrophy. So he can't get in contact with Elon. So he's like, maybe if I tweet, which is unfortunately just how the world works these days.
There's a higher hit rate.
Yeah.
In touch.
So he tweets, and then Elon just doesn't believe that he worked at Twitter or contributed anything.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think can you guys, do you know more of this world than me? What was this contract, this $100 million contract?
Well, so that's the thing I wanted to get to.
Because there was something I wanted to mention along with Elon's response to him without knowing about that thing, but I need to know exactly what that thing is.
So the $100 million number is like not real. Like it's actually not disclosed how much they acquired the company for. But Twitter bought Holly's firm, Ueno, for an undisclosed, very large sum.
That's typically just calculated as the valuation at the time. That's like the number.
It's and typically, the compensation for that is in stock or something where you get a lower tax rate. Holly requested to be paid as like through his salary, which meant a higher tax rate, so that he could pay the government of Iceland to pay back into the system, because he benefited so much while he was on disability there, which I think is a very noble thing to do.
And awarded him Person of the Year.
He was awarded Person of the Year. The contract thing is because of how he wanted to be paid through his salary. On the event of his termination, he needs to be paid out.
With that, what I think is so funny is that Elon is like so cocky and so shitty that he saw the case of somebody publicly being like, I work for you and I don't know where else to turn because I'm so fucked here. And I think in his head, he thought, here's a near powerless Twitter employee that I can stomp on. Yeah. And he went for a hard stomp and it was a rake and he stepped on it and slapped him right in the forehead. Yeah. It was like somebody with real power.
Right.
That like only probably was tweeting at him because he
genuinely he didn't have another option.
Had no other option, and also was powerful enough to go toe to toe publicly with Elon.
He didn't show his cards.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like not showing showing the cards to Elon was like not only like you're winning at poker, but you were playing 4 poker games that you're simultaneously winning at the same time.
6 aces.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that Elon publicly shames this person, discloses things about his health that are not public.
We only know that he has muscular dystrophy because Elon illegally
which illegally said publicly something along the lines of claims that he has a disability, but it was an excuse not to work.
Saying
pretty much
that
is the suggestion.
Type anymore,
he's tweeting a lot for someone who can't type a lot. can I just say that you can use voice to fucking text?
Yeah.
Like the concept.
Also,
that pissed me off so much. You could literally type the fucking microphone into your keyboard and just say words.
I had to change. I had to change my workflow at one point because I've a disability, and at one point I was typing all the time for work, and not long after I left Patreon, I was then also editing all the time on a laptop, and I had to take a month off to do physiotherapy and get steroid injections because it just was not viable. So when I texted, I was using my knuckle at one point, and then only my left hand, and it was, you can be able to communicate. I was replying to emails without running an entire organization. Those are two distinct things.
I have somebody in my immediate family who has a muscle illness as well, and it's like it's about energy spent during the day and the amount of energy that you can spend, and then things, at least for him, start to like deteriorate to a degree that day, except for like medication that can help, obviously. But it's like you're not, like, depending on the person or like where you're at with that disease, it's like, it doesn't mean you can't work at all. It just means there's limitations to what you can do. Just like anybody might have limitations with other stuff. Yeah. It's so crazy to be like, oh my God, this employee for us claims that they might have certain limitations, but they can also work for us. Sounds like a great worker. Sounds like a great employee to you that can still do the fucking work.
It is literally the exact reply that a reply guy would say.
Yeah.
Like a confrontational, okay, you claim this and yet you still work.
Yeah.
You are a socialist and yet you live in a house.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't, it is the kind of reply that can only be fostered by someone that's never done anything.
Right.
You can't have worked at a company, understand how like satellite management works.
You can't be somebody's boss and say that shit.
And that's why he gets so pissy when people are like, hey, you're a terrible CEO. He's like, but I am it. You can't. If I was bad, I wouldn't be the ditch.
I'm famous. So checkmate.
Eventually, Elon gets word that this is a very important person that he is insulting and has to
desperate HR.
because also Twitter is hemorrhaging money in. Like
they can't afford this type of fuck up.
They literally cannot afford this type of fuck up.
Because it's the fuck up of having to pay the money if they fire him.
Yeah.
And a new lawsuit because of the way he behaved online.
Elon's trying to...
$100 billion is a charitably small amount of money.
Yeah.
To go the legal route.
Especially, I feel like if you're doing a lawsuit that has to do with that type of power and money behind it originally, you probably sue for a lot more.
It's so wild. So it's a monumental fuck up. He basically goes and apologizes because his like lawyer told him to.
Oh, sorry. We should say he was fired. That's the claim that Elon made. They had a little bit of a discourse. Holly made an amazing roasting thread that was also
which included I have a wife that I love and kids I spend time with. You should do the same.
Yeah, I recommend the same.
You know, Elon's because I've heard that he will to pretend to be like low income so he feels cool. He'll be in like an apartment with a mattress on the ground. He's just like MacBook light illuminating him in an empty room all by himself where he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Peak dub of that whole thread is when he says, thank you so much for asking about my health. I hear that we both can't go to the toilet unassisted. Me because of my condition, you because you're scared you'll get beaten up by your employer.
I didn't know that was in there.
Literally, dude, when I was in bed reading the thread, in similar light as you're describing, my teeth were the only visible thing. The light bouncing off my Invisalign, just so excited.
It was just like a masterclass. I just think that the people in the design world who know how great this guy is are like, Elon had no idea one of the greatest design leaders alive works for his company, then had the audacity to say he is independently wealthy and faked muscular dystrophy.
And tweeted a fucking Office Space clip about like, so what do you do for this company? You fucking moron.
He somehow managed to be awful and then also not be funny. Like he never tweets and doesn't also go, oh, by the way, I'm not funny.
He has, even with some tech people who were like already primed to love him, like some, so you guys know those types like more than me, but like he has gone for some of them from the modern day Iron Man to somebody who can't and won't read. Like the span of 1 year. How do you do that to yourself?
Like if
so
Iron Man
funny.
suit was just like a car.
A guy that like you're trying to say any science to, and he's just going like, ah.
One of the funniest things, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. It is a great note to end on. One of the funniest things to me is that Elon was asking him what his stack was, or like what technologies he was using there. And there is a
I know this.
there is a technology, it's sweeping the design world. This tool called Figma. And Elon replied to him saying that he uses Figma with a laughing emoji because Elon probably thought it was a Ligma joke.
Yep.
Which is the funniest thing Elon Musk has ever
Honestly,
He's like, you got me there.
Here's $100 million.
I know I'm publicly firing you, but that was an epic meme you picked
Yeah,
in there. Like,
Win.
Touche,
That
sir.
Charlie Sheen meme is like tiger blood.
Winning. Before we move on with the show, we have a little bit of a special guest to bring out. So
yes, Frankie.
Oh, sweetie. There's too much going on. Quick loop. Taking with Jacob.
I'm so worried about the tripod.
yep, we're all worried.
Oh, Jacob.
Frankie, look who it is. Look who it is,
Not
Frankie.
Karen. That's fine.
It's couch time. Oh, dude. Oh my God. She's so pretty. Hi.
Oh, she's trying to eat it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She noticed.
Oh,
there
yeah,
it
there
is.
we go.
Oh yeah.
It processed.
Oh yeah.
actually think she didn't notice. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think there were too many smells, and then she caught up.
She got my glasses.
Oh no, you got messed up. Do you need a lens wipe?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me grab one.
Wallet, but I left.
Thirsty. She's going water
Yep.
mode. She's going the way
she
of
seems
water.
to do that when she gets really excited, right? She'll just start gulping water.
Yeah.
Like a
So
Navi.
for context, this is Frankie. She's a foster, but she's been living with me for the past few months. And after we hosted a little New Year's party together. So after that party,
Frankie.
after that party, Eddie and Chrissy fell in love with Frankie.
I love her so much.
And Frankie got to stay with Eddie and Chrissy for a week.
And she's the best dog in the world, and I love her so much. And if I was in a point of my life where I could adopt a dog, it would be absolutely her. But I also live in an apartment that is not enough space for this big old dog.
Yeah, but she's a good girl.
best.
Up here, Frankie. Frankie, up. Good girl. Hello. Hello. Just go down.
She's European, so she does kisses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meat, yeah.
She's a very good girl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am actually. Come to think of it.
The space definitely. I loved watching Frankie. It's like having a dog that big that you have to take down an elevator where a bunch of other people have dogs in the building as well, and the elevator door is like a surprise. Like, are these dogs going to get along? And they're inches away from each other's face. Is just like not the best for her.
Yeah.
It seemed to really like kind of stress her out. Like when
Yeah.
other dogs would like start barking in the elevator and everything. I'm talking about you. Sorry.
Yeah, she's you know, we don't know a lot about her history, but
She's shy.
you know,
she doesn't talk about it.
she's growing and learning a lot very fast, and she's been a real gem. But yeah, with fosters, you know, you just hit some of those like patches where you just like there's anxiety or there's sort of some experience that you don't know why the dog has a certain response, but
And my
you gotta
favorite
just
thing
work
about
with it.
Frankie by far is like her. You know, you did the dog 23andMe. And
Yes.
part of her genealogy, I think, was Rottweiler, right?
Mhm, she's
A
half
little bit.
Rottweiler.
So, because we were curious,
I
because
thought there was hound in there or something.
Yeah.
Like she's
That's
got.
just default dog. Like she
She-
looks like a classic dog.
Yeah, she also has so much skin on her face that like
Yeah.
every angle she's at, she looks like a completely different dog.
That's very
That's
true.
what I
When
love
she
about
does, when she plays and is just doing regular like baring teeth, you know, having fun. she looks like she's going to kill me. Because she's got that Rottweiler, the face squinches up and the teeth come out like that.
She got really excited one day at the apartment and like also was just like sliding around, making that face everywhere. Just got like such like zoomies that I was a little worried she was going to slam into a wall or something.
She did a funny thing the other day where I was trying to get her off the bed and she didn't want to. And in her natural thing to do now, when you ask her to do something she doesn't want to do, is she will just roll over on her back and she's like, what if I'm like really cute?
Yeah. Wait, what if I was the best?
Frankie, off Frankie. So she will like lie on her back. And she did that at the foot of my bed, and I watched in slow motion as she like fell off my bed on her back, but she didn't fall flat because there was a blanket hanging off the bed. So she kind of like slid slowly down, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, Ethan's dog. It's nice being a dog uncle where I have no culpability, but I can hang out with
Well, that's what I love about Frankie.
Frankie,
Ethan's dog. I totally fallen for.
Right here.
And he came into my room the other day, and he has like this little antler toy rounded in the center. And he was just showing it to me. He was like, "You seen this fucking shit, dude? I know you got a PS5, but you seen this shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's tight, dude. I got a gaming PC, so like it's no big deal." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Went upstairs, playing with it all day. And at one point, I just went up there, and I saw that on his it's got like a little ridge in his dog bed. He spent like 10 to 15 minutes picking the toy up from wherever it falls, trying to settle it on the edge, and it's sliding off because it's rounded. And at one point just stopped for a while.
Just gave
I was
up.
just like, I am being persecuted. This is crazy to me. And it's, cliche to be like, dogs have such personalities, but Frankie is just so like,
She's so sweet.
she's trying to talk. Like there's things she wants to communicate.
She also is, I don't know, it's like she like is a professional at being the cutest dog I've ever seen in my life.
Feels manipulative.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
Look at her eyes right now. Oh my God.
It's like kind of heartbreaking that I don't think I can adopt her.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a lot, and I have a young dog, and I want to make sure I
wanted to adopt her so bad too. And like we talked about it, and it was just like watching her for a week was a joy. But I realized like, especially I have a lot of family back home and like new like nieces and nephews that I have to like frequently go back home to make sure like I'm there in their life. And having like, especially a dog this big, it's just like really tough to not only travel, but
I would never do it without a green card, like genuinely. Because
she also deserves a yard. Like she would run around my hallway in that apartment, is pretty small. And like, I don't know. She almost knocked her head a couple of times. She didn't, but I was really worried.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you've done a wonderful job with her. I think. Like,
thank you.
I mean, that's the thing about like fostering.
Frankie.
My mom used to do like fostering with newborns and mothers if who like either had limited housing or you just needed support and the like. So, like. Underprivileged mothers and newborns, like within 24 hours would like come to our house and be staying. And the thing you do is alleviate and like help them grow, right? Like you make sure that child gets as much like eye contact at 6 months as possible because the mother is overwhelmed or exhausted or has like their own emotional trauma that they're having to process. And fear of like being alone, and often had like other children that weren't staying with us that they needed to go see and take care of. And it's like the thing fostering is for. The reason it's not adoption is that it's a bridge. It's taking from like a difficult situation or a complicated situation to being ready for something more permanent.
Right.
So it's just still not easy taking the Band-Aid. And these are babies. I didn't like speak with them, but I remember all of their names and what they look like because it just is
right.
Half your heart for X amount of time.
I think that like one thing that I'm really proud of is that she's grown a lot with me, like while she's been here, and like she will be like that much better for like her
absolutely,
forever family.
Absolutely,
and more people will be able to have
Yeah,
her.
true.
I don't know how much you talk about it with the like podcast or in content, but I don't think people are aware of how good Jarvis is as like a dog trainer. Like he's really great at it. Like
when you got Dipper, it was like having a son.
Yeah, it is like
read all, you know, the
I
baby.
did.
I gotta put little switches over all the lights.
yeah, there's because I think like a lot of the time, and it's also great where like people will, you know, give an extreme amount of attention and care to their dog, but on top of that, you are like making sure it's the right stuff and like the right stuff for them and their happiness.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're really fucking good at it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
That was honestly part of the thing of like why I thought I probably couldn't adopt Frankie is I was like, I don't think I'm at a point in my life where I have enough available time to give her the attention to make her as happy as she could possibly be.
That's me too with like I'm kind of looking ahead, you know, and I'm also thinking I'm factoring in like lifestyle and career and stuff. And I already have a dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think I really appreciate all the kind words. I learned a lot with Dipper, and I'm like, I want to apply that with other dogs. And so I think that's why fostering was really attractive as a thing to me. And I know I eventually want to get a second dog. I just don't think this is the time. But the thing that's really hard to let go about Frankie is how affectionate she is.
She's so sweet.
Because Dipper's temperament, just his personality, is very much, I'm going to be doing my own thing over there. And I want a dog that's going to cuddle up, you know, next to me and stuff. So it's like, you know, Frankie has got all the things that you want. Like, I think she's going to be a perfect dog for a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Frankie will like see you in bed and like get in bed and cuddle up in a sense that's like, if you want to put your arm around me, you can.
Yeah,
you know,
no, literally.
like,
I have like woken up like cuddling with Frankie
Yep,
before.
yeah.
She has this natural licking tendency where if you're at like a distance, she's just like,
yep.
and she's like, I'm trying to reach, but I can't reach.
Yeah, like I'm trying to get something like under the couch.
Like
and
her
your
tongue
little finger comes out.
uses Bluetooth or whatever. Like she's like, if only.
She grabs
Frankie.
it like a lizard.
Okay, Frankie, careful. We get like an action shot.
Yeah.
Frankie, I have 2 dogs in this house, or have for all the episodes, but you don't hear them because we have someone who's like hanging out with them and keeping them engaged while we're like doing this thing over here. And we would bring Dipper out, but they would for sure knock over the cameras together.
Video version of the podcast will be over.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at her.
She's the best. She's
She
the
knows
best.
she's center frame as well.
Yeah.
Because there is the center of the frame is slightly that way of Jarvis. Now she is the most in frame thing of the entire show.
We could, while she's sitting like this, get a frame for the Is Fortnite Overrated with a dog in the frame too. All right.
You know, we have an announcement that we don't know exactly when it's going to be made, but it is going to happen.
I am a permanent host.
You're taking over actually for me.
Am I the only person that didn't know about this?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm the permanent host replacing you.
It's
for
actually
the
a
rest of the
solo show now.
Yeah.
With Eddie.
Wait a minute. Immigration's outside.
So Sad Boys, Jordan and myself are starting a Patreon. And with one of the things with that Patreon that you're going to get is a bonus episode every single week immediately following the release of the main channel episode. It means a lot to us, like setting up the Patreon. It's going to help us do bigger and better things, but more importantly, provide a comfortable life for, you know, the people that work on the show, Jordan included. I don't know if you've heard about immigration lawyer fees, but they are expensive.
This is not free.
Yeah. But you know, we are soldiering on, and we just want to provide something for the community that we can. And we want to provide for our people and make sure that everybody's like, you know, I don't know, just doing the best that we can.
Yeah. I mean, it's just very kind and flattering that so many people engage with the show at all. And it allows us to like bring Jacob on and it's such a help. And so we just want to develop and grow as much as possible. And it'd be fun to do an extra app where we keep all the swears.
Yeah. Extra app. We got a couple of other, we got a couple.
Damn.
Oh, those are the two that you can say those
Are
on
there
YouTube.
more?
No, those are it. Those are the
Top
two.
5 slurs. Go. Buca de Beppo.
That's 3. And there'll also be some other goodies that are going to be really exciting. Yeah. So head on over to patreon.com/sadboyzpod and check them out.
Am I sticking around for the bonus episode this week?
If you want.
Yeah, I will.
Let's fucking go, dude. That's so sick. That does mean that this does conclude this episode of Sad Boys before the bonus episode. And I want to thank Eddy, our dear friend. It's such a pleasure just to be able to make stuff with your friends, be able to hang out with your friends. And Eddy is a good one of ours. So thanks again, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Check out Eddy's channel. Check out Eddy's videos. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Twitch. Sometimes he does that too.
I have not done that for a while.
But also, the real ones follow Burback.
Yeah, that's the big Burback. My channel with my brother Tony. We make
video essays about video games.
Yeah, video essays about video games. Sometimes they're like video essay, like kind of reviews of like an old game. Maybe you used to play like Lego Star Wars or Wii Sports or like just a bunch of older ones like that. Or it's a video essay on something maybe more recent. And there's a big change to that channel coming up in like April that I'm really excited about. And I'll just say you're probably going to be seeing Tony's face a lot more often. I'm excited. So yeah, please support that channel.
The Mario 64 opening where you can pull his face and move it around.
Exactly. You're going to be able to move Tony's face around on the screen.
And he'll feel it in real life.
But yeah, that one is a big one that I would love if anybody could go at least check it out and see if you like it.
I love the Burback videos. I think that one thing that I have fucked up about my brand online is that I don't talk about video games very much. And so they're not associated with me. But on the back end, I'm a consumer. I'm a lover of all, especially the video essay genre in the video game space. And I think that you and Tony are doing such a fresh take on it that is the work goes in. I've seen the streams of you guys playing the games.
It doesn't.
They take a long time to
make. It doesn't feel cynical or topic charged.
Yeah,
it feels genuinely like passion, research, and genuine.
Because what did I'll say it just real quick because I know it's the end. What had happened with that channel, especially, is Tony and I were like, we've always wanted to work together creatively. And this is shit that we talk about very frequently. We joke about very frequently. And then had the idea of like, well, after other circumstances where Tony kind of like lost his job, not like an internet, job, but not, I didn't want to make it sound like Tony got fired from a place, but we especially like started making these videos. And I think it's pretty fresh I feel like it's not common or not done to have like two people making a video essay together as collaborators that are also like so close. And have like, obviously different opinions and voices, but like can collaborate so easily because we're twins. So hopefully it's like we're offering something new. And then in the future, we're going to try and change things up even more. So
let's freaking go. We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase. We love you.
And we're sorry.
Boom.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, or you want it?
Girl, too rich for me.